In the early hours of June 17th, social media was suddenly full of speculation. The hashtag Jungkook China tour peaked on Twitter, Weibo, and TikTok. Army of different countries wide-eyed China? Why not Seoul, New York, Tokyo, or even Paris? Why is the country that is full of controversy over the Korean entertainment industry so far even chosen as the opening? An exclusive source said, "This is no ordinary tour. There's a personal message Jungkook wants to convey, something he had kept for too long." Rumors are growing wild. Many attribute this decision to a past that Jungkook never really revealed to the public. Some believe this has to do with a secret deal between HYB and the Chinese entertainment giant. Others more boldly call this decision a form of subtle resistance from Jungkook himself. Is this proof that Jungkook has not fully adhered to the old system? Cameras at Beijing Capital Airport captured Jungkook's appearance being greeted hysterically by hundreds of local fans. Not Seoul, not Tokyo, but Beijing. And more surprisingly, it's not just a visit. But the opening concert of the world tour is predicted to change the face of the K-pop industry globally. What made Jungkook take such a bold step? Is there pressure from management? Is this really his own decision? Or is there something much bigger, something we don't know yet, that is pushing it east instead of west? One thing is certain, this decision split the army. Some praised the move as a smart strategy. In the midst of heated Korean-Chinese cultural relations, Jungkook appeared as a bridge of peace. But others felt betrayed. We waited so long, and you chose a country with a history of banning BTS in the first place? Why not Seoul? A frustrated Korean army man wrote on Instagram, and the disappointment didn't stop on social media. In some fan communities, petitions began to spread. Cancel the opening concert in China. HYB, listen to the fans. There was even a hashtag boycott Jungkook tour trending for a few hours, something that used to be impossible for idols as big as Jungkook. But on the other hand, the concert in Beijing was sold out in just 13 minutes. And when Jungkook went on stage, hysterical sounds penetrated the city sky. On the giant screen, a sentence appeared that left everyone speechless. "You think I'm going to start at home?" "No, because I want to go home last, not first." One sentence, but enough to silence the world. The initially disappointed army began to feel the emotional vibrations of these words. Jungkook did not leave Korea. Instead, he hugged her tightly, but in a way that not everyone can understand directly. He chose a path full of risk, unpopular roads, but the path that in his opinion is right. Then the big question arises, is this decision the beginning of Jungkook's creative independence? Or is this precisely the beginning of his silent farewell to the system that has raised him for more than a decade? In a brief interview with local Chinese media, Jungkook simply said, "I feel like I have something to do here, and the time is now, not later." There are no details. There is no long explanation, but enough to ignite global curiosity. And in the world of K-pop, curiosity is the fuel of everything. Meanwhile, HYB was silent. There is no official statement. There is no clarification. Only digital posters are scattered across online platforms. Jungkook Asia Tour, starting from Beijing. Enough headlines to split public opinion. A title that for some feels like a betrayal, but for others, feels like a revolution. Shortly after, Korean media began to uncover a series of hidden facts. One of them, reportedly Jungkook rejected the schedule for the launch of a comeback album in Seoul that had been prepared since the end of last year. He refused directly, without intermediaries, and presented his own idea. "I want to start from where I have never been given the opportunity." Some internal staff referred to the moment as a quiet confrontation between Jungkook and HYB executives. But because of its very strong position globally, even the final decision could not be rejected. Jungkook is not just an idol now. It is already an institution. And institutions can no longer be forced into silence. So what is the real meaning of this tour? Why start with China? Some cultural observers call this move very symbolic. China has long been known as a potential market for K-pop, but it's also a country with harsh policies against overseas artists. BTS itself was once eliminated from local media due to past comments related to history. And now, Jungkook is back in the country with his head held high. This is not about politics. It's about the bridge he wants to build, said an observer at Seoul Broadcasting Network. He's not avoiding. He challenged the system from within. But that challenge certainly comes with a price. From Korea to America, from old fans to the new army, everything is split. Most remain loyal. But others began to ask, is Jungkook changing? Is he still part of BTS? Is this a signal that he will go the solo road permanently? Because if true, then China is not only the opening venue of the tour, it is the place of a new declaration of identity. Not surprising enough yet? At the end of the opening concert, as the stage lights began to go out and the audience prepared to go home, Jungkook returned to the stage and sang a new, previously unreleased song. A song that, according to some fans who managed to record, is called The Last Wall and has surprising lyrics. I love my home, but I want to get out. I'm not a bird in a golden cage. Instantly, the media exploded again. Is this song a personal statement? Are you talking about Korea, HYB, or even BTS? Whatever the answer, one thing is now clear. Jungkook will not return to being the old Jungkook. This trip is not just a music tour. It's an inner journey to freedom. And China, with all its complexity, became the first stage of this new round. Armies around the world can only wait, waiting for the next city, waiting for new songs, waiting on whether there will be an official statement, or whether all of this will continue to be a mystery that can only be understood through every step he takes. But one thing is certain, the world has changed, and Jungkook is the center of change. I'm not leaving you, he said before taking the stage. I'm looking for you, somewhere we've never been before. And that night, the Beijing sky shone brighter than usual. That night wasn't really over. Thousands of light sticks are still on, fans haven't moved, and social media is again flooded with wild theories. Seconds after Jungkook sang The Last Wall, the whole world seemed to stop breathing. No one was prepared for the symbolism and courage he displayed. Even the Korean media itself is torn between admiring or suspecting this surprising move. One of the big headlines read, Jungkook shakes up Beijing, tour opener or farewell statement? The concert was not just a concert. It was a declaration. For years, Jungkook was known as a loyal, quiet, and submissive idol to the system that raised him. It is the golden magne, the star of the pride of the nation. But the night in Beijing showed Jungkook a side no one had seen before. The side that is in full control. The brave side said, I will determine this path myself. Meanwhile, in Korea, chaos began to be felt. Some fans began to question whether Jungkook could still be called a national idol if he chose a country that is often controversial in the Korean entertainment industry. How could he start from a place that hasn't openly supported BTS? A Korean netizen commented on an online forum. But the comments were quickly countered by Army International, precisely because of that he started there. To break boundaries. To create a bridge that never existed before. The biggest question begins to creep in. Is this the beginning of Jungkook's silent rebellion against HYB? Many felt HYB was beginning to lose control. Some former staff even leaked information that Jungkook's original world tour plan was to start from Seoul. But Jungkook insisted. He even reportedly refused 3 meetings with management because he felt his voice was not heard.